Spooky and Raven. Tonight our show is Paranormal Talk, and our guest is Laces Out, who's going to be sharing with us about his personal experiences, the Myrtles Plantation and House Manor. And I'd like to welcome I knew I was going to screw up on this. I'd like to welcome our other host, Raven. How you doing, Raven?
Better than you, clearly.
I got tongue-tied. I don't know what happened.
You got all nervous. Shame for shame. Yeah, tonight's going to be a fun night so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, too. And I'm going to introduce our guest now, Laces Out. How you doing, Laces?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Well, apparently you're doing better than I am. I can't believe I got so tongue-tied.
That's all right.
You've been around the paranormal just about all your life, right?
Just about. I mean,
can you tell us about some of your childhood experiences?
Or the earliest of what he can remember, yeah.
Yeah, the earliest you can remember.
Well, it definitely goes back to all the way back to when I was like a kid. I mean, at least from what I can remember. What would you like to know?
Tell us about one of your earliest experiences.
Yeah, like something that kind of stands out when you're a kid.
Yeah, something that stands out.
Something you might have saw.
Yeah. Oh, well, it just... Well, when I was a kid, the first thing that I saw, it was like... well, I can't really explain what it was, but whatever it was, I know that it wasn't, like, human.
Was it an apparition?
It's what I can't explain. I mean, I think the closest thing that I think it was, and I tried looking it up on the internet, is probably a cherub. But because it wasn't a human, and I don't think it was, and ever since then, and all the way up until the day we moved out, I'd go over there to the side of the house where I always got that feeling to figure out what it was. Never could figure it out. And I never really did talk about it until now, because, back then we just didn't talk about that.
Well, yeah, a lot of us didn't talk about stuff.
Well, a lot of us when we're kids. Yeah, a lot of us when we're kids, we don't really like to talk about it because, people think you're nuts or you're crazy or you're possessed or something. So, in this house, I mean, a cherub, that's like, they're even mentioned in the Bible. They're like usually around angels.
Well, can you explain kind of that for those people who are listening who may have no idea what that is?
Yeah, it explains what it is in the Bible, as like a cherub has like different, I think it's different faces. I don't know what all, but because I need to look it up. But
I think personally, my opinion, I read about cherubs in the Bible. I think my personal opinion was that they were angel helpers. That's just what I thought. Some people describe them as baby angels, which probably is a good description of them. But
but everybody has a different. I mean, not everybody is religious. Some people are atheists. Some people are whatever. So they may not read the Bible. They don't know. Everybody has a different idea of what a angel may look like. So I was just curious if you could describe what you saw in your backyard or something, what it kind of looked like to you.
Well,
I know you said the thing from the Bible, but I mean, was it see-through? Was it a shadow?
I think it was solid. It was dark outside, and I remember my dad was standing there. And I remember when I was a kid, I pointed and called it monster, but he said, "What? What? I don't see anything. What is it?" But it was right there.
Oh, you must have been really young when that happened.
Yeah, I must have. I'm guessing I must have been, I don't know, 3, 4, but it was been burned in my mind.
Your brain, yeah.
Yeah, and I always had that bad, I guess, that eerie feeling every time I walked out on the porch, that there was something over there on the side of the house where the entrance to the backyard was. But
well, was this the only paranormal experience you had in that house?
As far as I can remember, it's the only thing I could actually think of that actually happened in that house. I do know the doorbell occasionally used to ring by itself, but I do think that was just the kid that lived next door, but I always assumed that it was, but that's about the only thing that I could think of.
Yeah.
It seemed to be, to me, it seemed to be like restricted to outside. I don't know why. I never got that feeling inside.
When you
Yeah.
saw,
Always...
I'm sorry, sorry, Spooky, Laces out, when you saw this thing, did you, like, did you have, like, fear in you, or did you feel comfortable, or were you just thought it was scary looking? And, I mean, did it make you feel a certain way, not just because of the way it looked, but just the way that it felt? I mean, did you have any, like,
it just
sensations when you saw this thing?
It just, to me, it was scary.
Well, you were 3 years old.
Yeah, that's why I say it wasn't like human or anything.
Now, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is this the only, not necessarily in this house, but as you got older, you know, were there other experiences that you had that maybe stick out?
For being that young, I can't really recall anything until like later on. But in that house, that's like all that I could.
That just sticks out for you at that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can see where it would. I mean, you know, you're young, you see something out in the yard and you don't know what it is, and you know, I mean, you're going to get scared, and it must have been quite an experience for you being that young. He had other experiences other than in that house. I mean, when y'all moved from that house to the next place you lived, did anything happen to you there, or did you have experiences in other places?
My experiences really didn't happen until like later on, like I think like 1999, from what I can remember, because nothing really happened in the next house that we moved to. Not that I could recall, but
Well, you can just move on to anything else you want to talk about. It's cool, you know, like when you were older, or some of the things that you were kind of wanting to talk about, you know, at your aunt's house, or if you want to talk about the other stuff that you kind of mentioned to us, you can bring that up.
You mentioned something about a church one time. You had an experience in a church. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, a church ended up moving into this building, but I ended up felt like there was something in there, but I just blew it off that it was just me, because I told myself, nah, it's a church. Why would anything want to hang out in a church? But and then I found out that it was haunted, or so to speak.
Yeah, had something. Now,
yeah,
we do have the EVP. Do you want us to play it now, or do you want to kind of talk about a little bit what happened during that time before you got the EVP, or you know, you want to have us play it first and then you talk about it afterwards? Just let me know what you want me to do, and I'll
just talk about what happened before.
Okay.
Before we play
that's fine.
The EVP. Well, my dad, he walked in there one day because he had to do some setting up for the next day, and he opened up the door and there was something coming towards him. He said it was like a dark shadow. He said things don't really scare him that much, but this did, and it disappeared into the sanctuary. So he just locked the door and set the alarm and came back the next day to set up.
For the whatever that function was happening.
Yeah.
Now your dad saw this, right?
Yeah, there was nobody else in there. Usually, sometimes we have to go up there. Maybe sometimes during the day and sometimes at night to set up if we have like a function. sometimes I go in there at night and I can hear something. It sounds like a TV or radio, but.
Do you know anything about the history of this church? Because you're right. Usually you don't see things like that in a church. Not shadows anyway. I've been in churches before where I've seen apparitions of preachers or something like that. And we do have a haunted church around here, but that's kind of a different story on that. So you when you walk into a church, you wouldn't expect to be seeing anything paranormal in it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you could. I mean, they have funerals and other things there, or maybe somebody just, a lost soul went there or whatever it is, decided to hang out there. I don't know. It could be anything really. But so when you were in there, I mean, what made you want to do a digital? What made you want to turn on your digital recording? I mean, was there a certain spot that you guys always felt was different or weird, or experienced a lot of stuff in one section? I mean, or just because your dad had that one odd experience there that you thought, hey, what the heck?
Yeah. I just figured if he saw something in the church that I should record to see if anything came up, and it did.
Now,
that was a good idea, though. Your dad saw something in the church, so you put a digital recorder in there. That was a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
If you're going to see something, maybe you're going to hear something.
No, when you guys took your digital recorder in, I mean, did you just leave it in a room and leave it by itself? Or do you remember what section it was? I mean, how many people were there? Was it just you and your dad at that time, or?
I forget why I was there, but at the time I was there with my mom. I don't know why I went. It was
for something.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
For something.
For something, anyway. Yeah.
I just thought, what the heck? I'm gonna take my tape recorder and see if anything comes up.
Okay, and then this is the one thing that you had got. Now, you had said that you guys quote kind of cleaned it up for you a little bit.
Yeah.
To make it a little bit like, okay. Now I'm gonna play it right now, and then for those in chat, if you guys want to hear it again, you just kind of let us know, and we can also turn it up a little bit louder or slow it down too. So I'm going to play it a couple times right now, and then we'll just. Yep.
Oh well.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I looked up the words on the internet after I found out about what I thought it said. Online, it means being accused of witchcraft.
What this thing's saying? That's what it means.
Well, what I thought.
What you heard.
Yeah, when I typed it in.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'll play it right quick a couple of times so those can hear it, and then those who are in our chat can let us know if they want us to play it again a couple of times or turn it up, but I'll do it twice right now. Stop. Okay, I just played it once, now I'm going to play it again. Stop. Stop. Okay, so
I didn't hear it at all.
I didn't hear it.
Well, you guys, you'd have to hear it at the site. We can't hear it.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of already knew what it sounded like because we listened to it prior before the show. That's the one thing that's we can't. I have to.
Sorry about that, and I knew it.
Yeah. It's been a long day for you. I understand.
Well, Crazy said he didn't hear it.
You guys didn't hear it at all yet? Okay, let me try it again here. Let's see if that one works.
I heard it.
Well, you heard it, but
I heard it.
I had it set up the other way. I don't know. It worked on the other day. I don't know why all of a sudden things are going goofy. You brought your spirits with you, laces.
Yeah, they throw us. The first thing they do, they throw us right off the air.
Yeah.
Now they've got us muted.
Right. It must be the family's powerful energy.
Hmm.
All right. Well, why don't you guys talk a little bit about a little just about the hotel stuff while I fix the EVP part then, okay?
Crazy.
And then we'll come back to the EVP part. So you can either talk about the hotel or school for like a little bit, and then I'll work on this EVP thing and try to get it to come up. So, and then we'll play it again for those guys. But why don't you talk about the other parts right quick, and then I'll try to get this going.
Tell us about this hotel. You were talking to us about it the other night, and the reason I kind of find it interesting is because I could find no history on this place.
Well, I did, well, after we investigated, I got some, well, I only got like 2 or 3 EVPs out of like, I think the 6 hours we were there. I tried to contact the owners of the hotel but that didn't work out too well.
They didn't know the history either, huh?
All they said, all she said was, a lot of people died here, and that's all she said. All that they said was it was a hotel back in the 1920s. Yeah. Then it was a old folks' home, and then it was a hotel again. But
yeah, I did find where it opened.
What was the name of the hotel again, you guys?
The LaSalle Hotel in Bryan, Texas. I did find where it was opened in 1928 as a hotel, and then in 1959 it was a nursing home, and some people even claimed that at one time it was an insane asylum. I just thought it was weird that people bought this place, and by the way, at the time it was the tallest building in Bryan, Texas. This place had like 100 rooms in it. And I just thought it was interesting that these people that own this place don't really know the history. Now, Getter brought up something. He's in chat tonight. And he said something about somebody being thrown up against a wall. Tell us about this guy being thrown up against the wall.
Yeah, we had the 6th floor of this hotel to ourselves.
Yeah.
So, what he was doing was he was provoking the spirits, like, the entire time we were there.
Not a good idea.
And I didn't think that was a good idea either, but he went into the hallway over there by where the elevator was at, and I was standing like 10 feet behind this guy, and he was like saying stuff like, "Come out, show yourself," and "There ain't no ghost here," and all blah blah blah, God, you know.
Yeah.
And then I saw him get he was thrown against the wall, and then he was like levitated above the floorboard.
Oh my.
You know, he was like sliding up the wall.
Sliding up the wall?
Yeah, just a bit.
Like he was being picked up?
Yeah, that's what yeah. And, of course I didn't get that when he got attacked the first time on videotape.
Yeah.
Because I figured, because my video camera, it only lasts it's supposed to last like 6 hours, but it only lasts like 1 hour, so I'm trying to save the battery life, so I didn't really think that was worth videotaping, because I didn't really know what was going to happen. But when he lifted up the shirt, he had claw marks, and then there was a welt mark where he was like hit from behind.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So, now we got this guy being thrown up against the wall.
Yeah.
And he was provoking all night, you say?
Yeah, he was like just walking around and calling it names and stuff, and I was standing back. I kept standing back because I didn't want something to fly off the wall or anything, because I didn't know what was going to happen. But when we went out there to see, after he got attacked, he was like laying on the floor like he just got beat up by somebody.
Yeah.
But he had like claw marks on his back, and there's no way he could fake that.
Now, when you saw him going up the wall,
yeah,
could you see anyone holding him, or did he just like go up this wall?
he just went up the wall. For a split second there, I thought, oh my God, he's possessed.
I
And
would think that too.
but then I realized he's actually getting attacked by something that we couldn't see.
Well, like
And
I
then,
said, it's never a good idea to provoke. I get upset when I watch these shows where they're provoking because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're asking for trouble, and apparently this guy found it.
and then that's not the only time he got attacked. He got attacked a second time later on that night. And we actually got that on videotape.
He got attacked a second time. What was he doing
Yeah,
then?
it's the same thing, but he got more scratches, claw marks.
So being slid up the wall didn't teach this guy any lessons.
I guess not, because he got attacked a second time, and when he lifted up his shirt, it was like he got whipped by something. I mean, like more claw marks on his back.
Wow.
Um, um, I'm not
Okay.
sure if he was just doing that for the. I'm not sure if he was just doing that for media attention or what.
Yeah. I would like to see that video actually.
Well, if we're gonna run the videos, I don't know if I want to run back my thing back, 'cause it's all back and running. It was just some random fluke thing that happened.
Wow.
It doesn't ever happen, so.
I know. Isn't that strange that we've never had technical difficulties before and Laces brings his spirits in with him.
But
Oh,
whatever this was, it really shook all of us up. We were just trying to figure out what happened. I mean, things like that don't really happen very often, but it just we had to leave early because of that on that night, because we didn't know if any of us were going to get attacked.
right. Um, I don't blame you. I mean, I would be very, very careful after that. Was this the only thing that happened in this place?
Yeah, just about. I mean, I didn't get like any EV. I may have gotten like 1 or 2 EVPs, but that was about like the only major thing that happened.
No. Why did you decide to investigate this place? Were you asked to investigate it, or was this just some place that you wanted to go to?
No, we were actually asked to investigate. So that's why we had the 6th floor to ourselves, because they wanted us to investigate this hotel because they were losing money. So that's why we were able to lock the 6th floor down to put our video cameras and tape recorders. We were supposed to have, I think, the 3rd floor, but something happened, and we didn't get that floor to ourselves, though.
Was this place in business at the time? Because from what I read, it's a hotel again.
Yeah, it was a hotel, but they were losing money, so that's why they wanted us to investigate.
Ah, I see. So were they losing money because customers were telling them that it was haunted there? Or
Yeah,
they were
because
having experiences there? What kind of experiences did they say they were having?
they said people would go to sleep at night and all they would hear was somebody like breathing and whispering. They said they could hear like a group of people talking in the next room. In the next room, that is like a conference room. To the 2 rooms that we had, or the 2 rooms that we set, like yeah, the 2 rooms that we were able to go into.
Yeah.
On the floor.
Okay. And yet these people didn't know anything about the history of this place, but
I assume they didn't. But they did say that somebody fell off the roof. I think it
yeah.
was 1997.
Wow. So that was fairly recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
That was fairly recent. Okay. Yeah. We're going to take an early break because we're switching back because we're having problems with this one too. Apparently we are getting a lot of technical difficulties, and we will be back in 3 minutes.
Welcome back to Anything But Ordinary with Spooky and Raven with our guest caller Laces out. I'm sorry, there's like a bunch of storms going on, so we're being kicked off the internet a lot or whatever, so we're going to just try to do our best to get in as much as we can tonight. And thank you, but why don't you guys kind of go back to the hotel part, and then we'll just continue on the best that we can before we get kicked off from storms again.
Yeah, really. Okay, it's like I said, I didn't find anything out about this hotel, and I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, if they're having hauntings there, it seems to me that there would be some kind of history that you could dig up, you know. I mean, the worst thing I found on it was from 1866 to 1928, it went through several owners. And that there was also a train depot right across the street. And I also think it's very, very strange that these people ask you to come in to investigate this place, and they know nothing about the history of their own building.
Well, now you were saying a little bit before we got kicked off and stuff, that you were saying that they were kind of evasive, but didn't they ask you and Mike and some other people to come in to do this stuff? That's why I find it's weird that they were kind of offstandish and weird. Yeah. I missed out on that because I was trying to get the net back from this storm, so I apologize.
Yeah, I was just trying to ask questions and stuff, because I guess that's what you're supposed to do when you and when you're asked to investigate. But I didn't really get much from the owners. Not much cooperation.
Right. And now you were talking about that one guy was with you that he got messed with just because he was really provoking. And, you know, I'm not sure what she all said, but even if it's a demonic spirit or if it's a regular spirit, I mean, it's like going up to someone in their face and yelling at them, you know what I mean? You have free will here, you have free will there. I wouldn't want somebody screaming in my face in general as a person, let alone if I'm dead, someone's, you know, terrorizing me and screaming at me and taunting me. I mean, you could aggravate somebody because you're still going to have the same personality that you have here when you go over there. So that's kind of dangerous. But some people like to push the envelope, but I probably bet he doesn't do that too much now, huh?
I
don't know.
Has this guy been on another investigation with you since this happened?
I don't know. He hasn't. I'm not even sure where this guy lives, but yeah, he hasn't been on any investigations with us.
I mean, you're just asking for trouble when you go into a place that you don't even know, haven't been in there before, and you start provoking. That's crazy.
No, yeah.
I don't believe in provoking anyway because, you know, I mean, the story he's telling is a good example. You start provoking, you're gonna make them mad.
Yeah.
You know, and apparently there is something in this hotel. It's driving the customers away. The owners ask you to come in and do an investigation, and this guy comes in provoking. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy.
And people are getting booted out of chat now. See, I think Laces has just brought in some powerful guests with you.
You didn't come alone, did you, Laces?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably
I guess a lot of people are getting kicked around and stuff. That's funny. Well, it could be because the interesting videos that we want to show, because when we first saw these videos, I was just like, well, you know, but we're going to play those in a little bit. I think I have the EVP ready now. So why don't we just give it a whirl? And
it's the one from the church?
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a crazy... Everything was great when we practiced it just yesterday. Everything was running great, but now everybody's getting booted all over the place. So
I'm looking at chat now, and it's not showing anybody but Scooby in there.
Woohoo, Scooby! Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming and having patience. It's just a crazy storms. Okay, I'm going to play it right now, and hopefully somebody hears it and can let us know, so... Stop. That's the first time. Stop. Second time.
Well, I do have to say one thing though, but about this guy that got attacked. I think I told Raven, last week, about when I had to go to my dad's apartment, and I had to go to school later on in that day, but there wasn't really anything for me to do. So I just thought, I'll just go ahead and sleep on the couch. So that's what I did. So I woke up, it must have been like an hour later, because somebody was pounding on the door. Like, dude, let me in. Open up the door, dude. So I looked through the peephole, and it was those two guys that we went to ghost hunting with at the hotel.
Okay, did they know where you lived? Or where you were at? So these two guys...
No, there's no way they could have where I was at.
So these two random people that you met at this hotel all of a sudden show up at where you're at, for some reason knew that you were there, and were pounding on your door telling you to open up?
Yeah. And it's not like they were knocking on the door either. It was like pounding on the door. Pounding on the door.
Like they wanted to break in and
yeah.
have their way in or do harm or whatever.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
I just looked through the peephole, and I saw who it was, and I was like, I probably shouldn't open up the door. And I didn't.
I probably wouldn't either. One, they didn't know where you live, right?
Yeah.
And two, you know, I don't know. It's just, that's one of those, I don't know. It could be like
bizarre.
Spirits taking on the form of those people and showing up wanting to do harm. I don't know. You don't really
I'm
know.
not sure what would have happened if I would have opened up the door, but
Probably one of the good things that you didn't then. I guess you went with your gut instinct or whatever, so. I do have to say, for those of you who are listening tonight, and, you know, I'm going to post all the EVPs and the videos up in our group, and it's also going to be on our webpage for whatever reason, with all the different storms and everything that's going on, and Lace's friends he brought with, maybe. We're just I guess they don't want their voice heard or anything else heard, because everything was running perfect just a little earlier, and now all of a sudden it's like, nope, we don't want to be on the air. But
is Spooky still in chat, or did she disappear?
I don't know. It shows that she's here, but we can keep talking until she comes back. Kind of like what happened to me. It's one of those random weird nights, so just wing it. You want to talk a little bit about the school that your dad works at, that you've been seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just the hauntings that school go back to, like, pretty much the beginning, from what I've heard. But before they rebuilt it, and I'm not going to mention names or where it's at or anything like that, but before they rebuilt it, it was pretty scary, you know, to be walking down there at night, because sometimes I'd have to, you know, my dad would have to be in the school late at night on Halloween, just to make sure nobody broke in.
Kind of like do security guard work so people don't egg it or break in and TP it or anything. Okay. So you guys would, that's even trippy that you'd be there on Halloween. So.
Yeah, but when he started at the school, it was, he was hearing stuff, and he saw stuff, and he went to the principal and said, "Am I crazy, or is the school haunted?" And he said, "No, you're not crazy. The school is haunted."
Oh my! And, so he's been seeing things practically since the day he started working there.
Pretty much, for what, 29 years. Yeah.
Well, what kind of things have you, I mean, do you want to kind of explain the things that you've seen or experienced here? You know? Give our listeners a little bit more detail of, I mean, yeah, it's haunted, but, I mean, what kind of personal experiences have you had when you've been in this school? Or your dad?
The only experience that I actually had in the school, because I've been up there many times before. I went to school there, but I never, you know, I never saw anything back then. But when I came back from school, but I was standing in the gym watching all the kids, and I looked over toward my dad's office, and I saw somebody in there. They had the back to the door, but I could see it was somebody in a white shirt and a black dress, and hair that was up. You know, like somebody from the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there because I knew what it was right away, but there was nobody in there, of course.
Do you know when this school was built?
The school was built 1963, but they recently rebuilt it. So
there was a school sitting there before 1963, right?
I don't think so. No, there wasn't. It was all farm cow pasture.
Oh, like I see. Okay.
Cattle land or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like prairie land, cattle land, an old ranch or something. Yeah. So, did you go to school there, or is this just a place that you heard about the haunting, so you went in to investigate, sort of, because you were curious?
No, I went to school there all the way from K to sixth grade.
Okay.
But in those days, I never did. Nobody ever told me about anything that was going on, so I didn't really hear about how it was haunted till I was like in the 5th grade.
Did you see anything in there while you were in school?
No. I never did. I mean, I always had to, I always went down to my dad's gym and shoot some hoops, but I never saw anything.
So you apparently went back later when you got older to kind of look around in there. Did you ever see anything in this place?
I never saw. The only time I ever saw anything was that time when I.
This photo you said, now this lady looks like the lady kind of like sorta. What you saw, right?
It might be. It's hard to tell because she had the back to the door. I mean, somebody wearing a white shirt. But you had contacted
some people requesting photos of the house or whatever that the school was built on, of this area. Or can you tell a little bit of how you got this photo so people kind of understand why you were showing this? Because you kind of
I contacted the archives, but I didn't think they were gonna find anything. But surprisingly, they sent me a photo of the family who lived on the property long before the school was built.
And then when you got this photo,
we should also mention that the woman that he's talking about is the woman. Oh my goodness!
I think so.
The woman standing up between.
I believe it is, but I can't be 100%. I mean, since I've never actually seen the face.
But your dad had saw her a lot, and other people in this school have saw her a lot. But it's kind of like this picture, everybody's kind of in agreement that this is kind of like what she looked, similar to.
Yeah.
And she's got a black dress on here and the white top, and her hair's up, like all that y'all are talking about. And I'm just talking Southern all of a sudden.
Back when my dad first started teaching at that school,
right?
He had a metal cage in his gym full of let me word it right, basketballs. And it was chasing its student around by itself around the gym.
The ball was?
No, the basket. It's like.
Wait,
wait, you lost me.
Hold on. Okay, everybody's playing basketball, whatever, and the basket itself was chasing a student.
Yeah,
I don't mean to laugh, but I mean I've never seen a basket that the ball goes into.
No, it has wheels. It's like a metal cage.
Oh, yep.
Okay. I know what it is.
Where all the balls go into for storage, and then you push it into the room. There's some unseen thing was pushing this cart full of basketballs, chasing a student.
Yeah. She came out and told my dad why. She came out telling my dad it was hysterical and said that cage is chasing me around by itself.
I don't know if I was that kid. I don't know if I'd even go back to school. I'd be like,
I don't know if I'd go back in that gym.
I know.
Yeah, that's the thing. When this started back up like several years ago, the janitor refused to clean that gym because he kept seeing the lady in the hallway. She'd chase her down there and she would disappear into the gym.
Now, since the school was built, okay, there were no tragedies, no deaths, no real bad accidents in this school, right?
Yeah, not that
you know of.
Not that I know of, no.
So it sounds like that maybe the gym, the ground where the gym part was built,
might be very active.
I feel sorry for that kid being chased by
that's another
a container full of basketballs. I wouldn't go back in that gym.
That would freak me out, though. Seriously.
Before they rebuilt this school, there was nothing but a crawl space under the gym. And there were stories that, and I heard the story when I was in kindergarten. Some kid told me that there was a dead body under there, which it wasn't true at all. But some kid told me that there was a dead body under there. And somehow, I don't know who started the rumor, but yeah.
Maybe that was their way of trying to explain the hauntings. Because it sounds like this place has had some sort of hauntings in it practically since the day it was built.
Well, it seems like almost a ton of the people who work there, the faculty, have all had
a lot of people were seeing this. Even the principal admitted the place was haunted.
Right.
And it just, something had to happen on the land.
Well, you were talking about a little boy that would show himself in the gym, too. You told me.
He was chased into the bathroom so many times where he disappeared. My dad chased him in there to try to get him out of there because
your dad chased a spirit into the bathroom?
Yeah. I mean, because he thought
it was
there
a
were
regular
too many,
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, too many people in the bathroom, so he was trying to get him out.
Right, so there wouldn't be a commotion in there. Yeah, I understand why they do that, just to try to stop kids from goofing off or causing any havoc. But what about remember the time that you said that there was the little boy that jumped out and scared everybody or something like that?
Yeah, that was this past Halloween.
Past Halloween?
Yeah, everybody
So the hauntings are still going on?
Yeah. Whatever it is in that closet, like, gym closet, but, nobody, I don't know why. Yeah, it jumped out on, and everybody, all the kids, there was like, well, there must have been like 200 kids in the gym. They all saw it. They all knew what it was for some reason. But my dad saw it at the corner of his eye, but when he went in there was nobody in the closet.
That's interesting that the female's been seen in there. The child was seen in there. It's almost like that's like a little portal or something, and everybody is having such crazy experiences in the gym, and then seeing, just women all over the place. It's interesting that they're, and I guess I can understand maybe why spirits might be attracted to an elementary middle school, if that's what it is, because you got all this energy, from the kids and everything else. They might just be attracted to that area, or I don't know. I find it fascinating. I didn't know that one time you'd went in there and with your cameras while you guys were.
I didn't get anything.
You didn't get nothing on your photography or nothing. Yeah.
No.
Well,
but I do know that it has shut the door and locked it. It's a big, heavy wooden door that it shouldn't just shut by itself.
Right.
And you can't lock it from the inside. It has to be locked on the outside. The closet door to the gym.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I don't know if I could work in that school late at night, like being the janitor by herself with how many,
my dad was telling me also recently, about his cell phone that went missing. He came back into his office and said, well, where the heck is my cell phone? I thought I put it right here. Then it hit him in the back of the head.
Oh, wow.
I just didn't mean to laugh, but I'm like, oh my gosh. Here's
well,
your
he
phone.
wanted to know. He wanted
phone.
to know where it was.
He probably turned around looking for you or your brother. Hey, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, yeah, those things are definitely interacting with your dad a lot. It's funny because it's like when he first started going there, then he went and asked the principal.
I wonder if they know he's retiring at the end of the year. So
as long as they stay there and don't come home with him, I'm sure he'll be fine. Fine with that.
Yeah.
Just don't bring anybody home from work, Dad. Maybe he has, and that's why you've had some of those experiences in your own house,
Yeah.
You have things happen to you in your house, from. Like
I'm kind of curious about that too. I mean, his dad has had all these experiences and has seen all these things, and is he seeing anything in his home? I mean, did something follow him? But from what I get, there's only like 2 spirits in this school, so it's not really that likely.
I'm sorry, what did you say again?
Well, she was just saying that it might be possible that maybe some things
maybe something followed him home
once in a while just to hang out at your place or something, because you do have things happen in your place a lot that you had told me over the time. Yeah. And then I don't know if it was at your aunt's house or this house where you're talking about the handprints and all that different stuff. I know you and your family members have a lot of strange run-ins with unexplainable things,
Yeah. So, have your parents ever said anything about anything going on in their house?
No. If anything happened, it's pretty much only me that notices it.
Or they just don't
like
talk
things
about
going
it,
missing and yeah.
Okay. You told us one time about visiting House Manor.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
My understanding is that you are, because I saw this in chat by one of the chatters. Matter of fact, Getter said this. Getter said that you were a good researcher, that you can find, that you find out things that some people don't find.
Yeah. And, well, I'm not going to say it in chat, but yeah, you're correct. I found a lot of stuff out about that house. The Hill House.
I've never been there. I've heard a lot about it. I wanted to go. Matter of fact, I was going to make a trip down there one time, and something happened, and I never did make the trip. How many times have you been to Hill House?
Only 2 times. The last time I went was back in December of 2012. Yeah, that's right. December of 2012.
What did you experience in there?
Yeah, it was weird. When we first went, I got a lot of EVPs on my digital recorder. I listed them all on a piece of paper. It must have been over 100 EVPs that I knew of for sure. But,
oh my!
When we went, I think when I went the first time back in, I think it was 2010, I think it was, or 2009, I don't remember. He played some 1920s music, and my brother, he said, there was a fireplace room. He said there's perfume smell in this room. So I said, okay, he smells something, and it's probably gonna go away in a couple minutes. Well, by just in like 20 minutes, the whole entire upstairs smelled like lavender perfume, which was pretty weird. Wow. And we tried to debunk it to see if it was like something from outside, and it wasn't. And
did you see anything while you were in there? Did you see apparitions? Did you hear anything?
Well, the first time I went, I didn't really. I didn't hear anything or see anything the first time I went, but except for the perfume smell that I thought was weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because even though the entire upstairs smelled like lavender perfume, you walk downstairs and it wouldn't smell like that in the living room, where they got the webcam. And all of a sudden you smell it in one spot, and I followed it to the kitchen where it disappeared. And it's weird because you can go upstairs and smell it like the entire upstairs, but then you would know where it's at because you could turn your head and it's stronger in a certain spot.
What about the second time you went?
The second time I went, it was I heard some stuff. We all heard it down there by the stairs, but I didn't get it on my tape recorder. Somebody said here, like here.
Wow.
But it's weird because I didn't get it on tape till like 2 hours later, so I can't figure that one out.
I don't know much about Hill House. The owners, I have spoken to Linda once in a while, and every time she has a webcam up, I watch it. But I think one of the things she told me that at one time it used to be a speakeasy.
Yeah.
And from some of the things that she told me, I can kind of understand why there'd be a lot of activity in there. A lot of things went on in speakeasies. I forget everything that she told me the place used to be. I've watched other people chat about it, and they say that they've had all kinds of experiences in there. And at one time it used to be a triplex, but I'm guessing they don't rent any of it out anymore.
Yeah, I did some research on it, and I found out they had at least 2 funerals in the house.
Wow.
I don't know how many funerals they had in the house, but I found out there was a lady that was like 30 years old who died all it said was an operation. I don't know what it was, but then I found out there was a boy. He was like 14 or 15 years old when he died. I don't know if they had his funeral in the house, but her funeral they had in the house. I think that was Elizabeth. Her name was Elizabeth.
Well, at one time people had home funerals because that's just the way they did it. Yeah. A lot of it, I guess, depended on the area they were in, their financial situations, or if that was just what they did, they just had home funerals. I mean, even nowadays, some people have home funerals. My family has them once in a while. They're really common in the South. I'm sure they're common all over the country, but I know they're really common in the South.
Well, I've known a lot of people have wakes in the house, but not the whole funeral service, but sometimes. But yeah, back in the day, they did a lot more. But yeah,
I remember when I was a child, we had a wake here and had the body here. Yeah. So it's, like I said, it's not an uncommon thing. As a matter of fact, more people nowadays are opting for that because it's cheaper. I mean, let's face it, the economy's in a mess, so people are going to go as cheap as they can, but still want to give them a proper burial.
Just bury me in the backyard, crap.
That's what I said. Just throw me out back. I'll disappear sooner or later.
Bring you to nature, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. This is one that I've kind of been waiting for.
The Myrtle House.
How many times have you been at the Myrtles Plantation?
Yeah.
Only one time. It actually was 10 years ago. I can't believe it's been 10 years already since we last went. But
yeah, time to go.
I would like to.
Yeah, time to go.
I would like to go back, but it just takes money and.
Well, that's another place on my places to go list.
Penny and one of our mods is not that far away from there. She should go there and do a live show with us.
I know she's right around the corner.
She could call in on Skype and talk to us while she's live at the Myrtle Plantation. While doing investigation for us, that'd be awesome. But yeah, you went down there with a couple friends or family or whatever.
Yeah, I went with my dad, my brother, and Mike, and we got lots of stuff on VHS tape. There's so much that I can't really.
You didn't go through all your stuff, yeah. You just threw up some. You just started going through a little bit of the tapes that you had, but you didn't watch all of them yet, yeah. And I know the parts that you gave us. I'm gonna see if we can try to. I got the full 3-minute length one that you had uploaded from your VHS and kind of burned on a DVD that you sent to me, and we were only paying attention to like the first 30. Well, you gave me a bunch of stuff that we could do during the show, but there was no way we could fit it all in. So we're gonna have to probably have you call in another Paranormal Talk time because you had so much stuff for us. And plus tonight we've had so many difficulties, which is bizarre, but. We have the full 3 minutes that you gave me, and then everybody was focused on the first 30 seconds that you told me to focus in on, and that's when we saw that weird thing. But then when me and you and Spooky are watching the rest of the 3 minutes, that whole 3 minutes was extremely active.
Oh, there was a lot of activity in that video. It just what you showed us in the beginning, or what I saw anyway, was amazing enough. But when I sat and watched the entire 3-minute video, I couldn't believe the activity in that thing.
Well, when you go there, I don't know if you've ever been there. It's weird. I mean, it's like being pulled back in time.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It's just, it's even more eerie when the sun goes down, because everybody takes off and leaves.
It's like all of a sudden they switch back, and then all of a sudden you're back in time. Once everybody disappears, it's like you're in a brand new dimension type thing back in time.
You know what? I can't get over that. When a certain time comes, all the help leaves, and they leave the guest to fend for themselves for the night.
It did exactly that. But as soon as the sun went down, it's like an entire caravan leaving the plantation.
Like rats leaving a sinking ship.
Yeah, exactly.
And that just, that amazes me. I'd be having a party. I'd be raiding the refrigerator and everything else.
It's weird because you can go there. It's like jam-packed during the day, but at night, it's like a ghost town. There's nobody there.
Wow.
You would think that it would be, you would see a lot more people out, walking, but you don't.
I you know what? I found that more amazing than the fact the place is haunted.
Now, when you guys were there, when you were doing your investigation stuff, was there a lot of people there with you guys, or I mean, how many people were there at the time when you had your videotape running and?
Just in the place.
Just in the place or outside. I mean, how many people do they let on an investigation each night? I mean, is it a group, tons and
Well,
tons
actually,
of people?
they didn't. Just... Actually, in order to investigate, official investigation, there was like $1 million down payment.
Wow.
So we just went ahead and bought video cameras and
just kind of left them running.
So basically, you went in there as just regular guest, but you took your equipment in with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better that way.
Well, you know what? If everybody leaves when the sun goes down, who's to stop you from walking around investigating?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we had the judge's chambers in the house on the second night. Which
the what?
That was.
On
it's
the second night.
No, what did he say before that? Something chambers.
Judge's chambers.
It's the.
Okay, judge's chambers.
Yeah, it's in the house, up the stairs. It's like the on that half of the house inside, it's like the only room. I mean, up the stairs. On that
level, yeah.
Yeah, on that level.
And then did you experience anything when you were in that room at the time? Man, it's freezing.
There was just like a different kind of silence. I mean, you didn't hear anything, but I didn't hear anything, but except footsteps on the wood, but that was it. I mean, we did get something on videotape that we heard coming from downstairs, but Mike, he'll claim it's like a gavel, but I think it was a pistol, revolver.
Like
pistol.
Somebody shot a gun or somebody hit the
that's
butt
what
end
it,
of a
to
gun
me,
done on...
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, in my opinion, that's what it sounded like.
Right. Well, you were
Well,
there,
several people can hear the same sound, and maybe all of them have an opinion as to what it was. Yeah. It just... I mean, that doesn't mean that it wasn't that or it was that. It's just that the point is that y'all heard something and you all think that you know what it may have been, or at least what it sounded like to you. I got a question to ask because I looked this place up and nobody has ever mentioned this before, but when I looked up the history, it said in a doorway that at one time Union soldiers went into the house and they ransacked it. And some of the soldiers were killed in there. And in a doorway, there was bloodstains that wouldn't go away or they couldn't clean them up. And when the cleaning people, or housekeepers, whatever they call them in those... They couldn't even push their mops across that area.
I heard about that.
Did you see the blood stains? Were they there when you were there, or?
I don't think that. I think that was like in the middle of the floor, like in the foyer of the house. From what I heard, they claim the blood stains are on the steps, but I really don't know if that's really what that is or not. But
there's something there. You're just not saying they're blood stains because you don't know.
Yeah, because it's been like 100+ years, so I don't know.
Well, but I mean, there was blood stains in the wood, but you need like a black light and everything to kind of see it and stuff like that, or you can barely see faint stains and some stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and let's face it, paranormal investigators don't carry around bottles of luminol with them either.
No, yeah. Well, some do. Some who are really into this.
You have to, you have to really be into what you're doing to carry around a bottle of luminol.
That's true. Well, you guys want to try to see if we can play one of our first videos? This is the original one the first 30 seconds of the original one where we didn't alternate, or, you know, try to darken it or lighten it so people could see it better? Do you want to try seeing if we could play the first video?
Let's see if we can play that.
Okay.
Which one is it?
It's
the original.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
I gotta get it up. It's the very first one that you sent me, and then later on me and you played with highlighting it, making it a little darker, and then inverting it, making it a little easier for everybody to see. I just need somebody to tell me in Skype, you know, one of the mods, just let me know when they're going to be able to see it, and then I'll just hit play. Because I don't know if you guys can see it up on the screen or not yet. If anybody has the video thing up. Because tonight's been an odd night. Usually we can tell what we're doing, so tonight's a bizarre night.
Tonight has been very, very bizarre.
Active.
Not just us, but it's happening to everybody who was coming into our chat. So
It's bizarre.
We've never had problems like this before.
I know, and I got stuff moving around here at the desk. I've been recording at the phone with the video recorder, so I'm just gonna hit play because I don't know if anybody can see this. So okay, they got it. So I'm gonna hit play right now, and if you guys can see where my mouse is, if you kind of watch where this door, well, you can kind of get them set up, right? Because we got the first video where it's aiming at the door. And in the video, you see some shadow being walk from the right to the left. And I'm just going to hit play right now. It's about 30 seconds. You'll start to see it. What was it around between the 25 and 30th mark, I think. But we'll just hit play. And towards about the 20 something mark, you'll start to see something walk from here to the right, over to the left, and then we have different parts of the video that we all kind of highlighted so you can see it a little better. It just went by. I saw it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I just have this little player. I'm going to play this one more time for people, and then we'll open up the other one.
It hasn't gone by yet.
You guys are delayed.
There it went.
Yeah, you're delayed when you're watching the stream, Spooky.
Well, that's true. That's
so
true.
I'm just going to keep playing it again, like I said, for those who aren't. Everybody has a little different time tonight because we're all having weird connection problems. So I can see if I could see right there. It's going right by. Now I'm going to see. I'm going to use the zoom up one now.
You know what's interesting? If you really look at that, it looks like that besides the thing going by the window and the door, it looks like there's people standing on the porch.
Yeah, I saw that too. What we're going to do is have this in our group so people can go back and play it at their own leisure. And you can join our group if you on our webpage up on top. You just go click on our Facebook button, and it's called Spooky's Corner, and that's where we're going to have his videos at, and we have them in 4 different versions. One's inverted, one's a little bit highlighted so you can kind of see it a little bit better, and one I have zoomed in closer on the door, and then we have his original clip. Now I'm going to play the one where we're zoomed in, okay guys? And then it should be switching, and I'm just going to hit play now.
You know that Taps caught the same exact thing, right?
Yeah, they had some shadow person walk across the porch too. But the funny thing is you have more than one in this 30-second clip. There's another one standing on the porch after this one walks by. It should be starting to walk right about here. It'll go across.
Actually, what I saw in this clip, you see it better here.
I zoomed up, but I didn't alter. I didn't highlight or anything. I just zoomed closer on the door with this one with the video.
Well, you can really this particular clip though, you can really tell it because in the other one you don't notice it, but something goes from left to right, and then something turns around and goes from right to left.
Yeah, and then the rest.
See, he's going by right now.
Right. You'll see him go.
And then if you look, you can see faces out on that porch. It's for no longer than it is.
Right.
for no longer than it is, there is a lot of activity going on there.
And anybody who's listening, you can, like I said, come to our website, anythingbutordinary2.wix.com/anythingbutordinary, and you can go and find us, our group's page there, and go in and see these videos close up on your own, and pause it, highlight it, analyze it. But this
now look at that in the right window beside the window beside the door on the right side. It looks like there's something standing there, but I see people on that porch.
Right. Well, the thing is I'll play the zoomed one in one more time, and then I'll play the other ones that we have, showing a little different version. One's inverted, and the other ones where the saturation and stuff's kind of like different, so you can kind of see it a little bit better. But this is on VHS tape, but I mean, you can really see it when you have it, and blown up, and you're looking at it on your own computer and stuff. You probably see it better than you will on here. I just saw something shoot up right here. But when we were watching the rest of the 3 minutes, something came in the door. Remember that white spear?
No, it came right through that window. Right through. I mean, it was like
right
it just
here,
popped in.
Yeah, there was it looked like 10 or 12, 15 people were walking on the porch.
If you see the entire 3-minute video, you cannot believe the activity that is in this.
Right.
This is one of the most active clips I've seen in a long time.
Just for how short it is, yeah.
Yeah, just for how short it is.
Yeah. Now I'm going to play the one where...
And that's like the guy that I'm seeing in the right-hand window.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of those waistcoats on, that...
Duster?
No, it's not a duster. It comes to his waist. He's got a pair of pants on that he almost looks like a riverboat captain.
Look at this one I just brought up. You can see this person's legs right here. It goes up. There's a head right here. There's shoulders, and it's going down. And I just had this on pause, but it looks like this person's heading out the door. They're half turned. Here's one. Their leg is bent right here. You'll be able to see it, you guys, when we have it posted in group right before you. This one's labeled CSAT.con2. You can see its legs, its pants, it's got a dark coat on it, and it's facing like half angled, heading out the door. That's really bizarre. I didn't notice that one before because we were just too busy wanting to hit play. But I'm going to hit play on this one. That's, like you said, you guys will see everything a little bit better when you go in.
Now, the Myrtles Plantation was built in 1796, and it is considered one of the most haunted homes in America. I believe it, just from this short clip. But like she said, we're going to post this in our group so you can get a better look at it. And who knows, maybe you'll see things that we don't see.
Right.
You may not even see what we're seeing. We're just
they might see some things that we miss.
Yeah, that's true. So we're going to let you form your own opinions about it. This place has quite a history from what I read about it.
Yep. Lots of deaths, suicides, and murders.
Mm-hmm. And part of the legend of this place is that it's built over an Indian burial ground.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's and one of the ghosts that's been seen there, or people have claimed to seen there, was Chloe, who was a slave.
Yeah.
Now,
so
I'm going to try to play the inverted one. Some people might see it better because they have better, screens than other people. But like I said, all these are going to be up. We may even post it on our webpage as well, temporarily. I just saw something right here, right quick. That was weird. I didn't notice that one before, but
I know every time I watch this, I see something else.
That I did.
But the first time I watched it, I didn't even see that thing going from right to left. What I saw was it almost looked like there was a party out on the lawn.
There, see, it's hard to see this one, but it just went by, and then there's a bunch of little things standing down here. This one's a little harder to see, I think, on the Ustream, but when you can kind of have it blown up on your own computer screen, you'll see it a lot better.
Now, how many times had you been to the Myrtles? Was it just that one time?
Just one time. I would like to go back again, but you know, it takes money and time and
Well,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely. I heard that there was a mirror there that was haunted also, that people see images in the mirror. I think it's supposed to be Sarah Woodruff and her two daughters. And I even read something interesting on that. Back then, when people passed away, it was customary to throw sheets or blankets over the mirrors, because so the mirrors wouldn't trap their souls. But I read that that particular mirror wasn't covered, and that's why they think that that's why Sarah Woodruff and her two daughters appear in that mirror.
You know, Mike took a picture of that mirror the first time he went, and I clearly saw that there was a guy's face in the mirror. You could tell what color hair he had, mustache, and you know, it's just like a floating head.
Yeah. And aren't there also little handprints that appear on the mirror, like a kid or something up there touching it?
I don't know. I haven't heard about that. I think they said they replaced it like 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
and every time it I forget what happens.
But there is a lot of history with this place. A lot of history. And apparently several deaths are connected with this. And I mentioned something about Chloe earlier. One of the stories is that Chloe, when the Woodruff family owned this place, Chloe was not only a slave, she was a mistress to Mr. Woodruff. I can't remember the first name I read, what his first name was. But she was caught listening in on one of his conversations, and he cut her ear off. So she was kind of, as far as her prestige in the home, it was lowered.
Yeah.
And for, let's see if I can remember this. I usually remember everything I read. One of the children was having a birthday, so Chloe made a cake, and she put oleander in the birthday cake. And oleander, for anybody that doesn't know, is very toxic.
Yeah.
It's a poison. And I guess she thought that she was going to raise her prestige in the home again, her standing in the home, by making these people sick and then curing them. But unfortunately, the mother and two daughters died. And the other slaves hanged Chloe and threw her body into the Mississippi River. And the reason they did that was to escape the punishment from Clark Woodruff, for harboring her.
Yeah.
So her ghost has been seen, and I've even seen pictures where supposedly her image was captured on film.
Right, I'm going to play the 3-minute one while you guys are talking, the full 3-minute clip that he
You know,
gave us. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when Mike went to the, when he went there the first time, he set out a video camera that was shooting towards the mirror. And we clearly caught somebody screaming on the tape, the videotape. I mean, there's no mistaking what it was. I think they think that was probably her screaming.
Yeah.
Tape.
Chloe screaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably when they cut her ear off. And they said that she wore a green turban. The story I read said that after that happened, she wore a green turban to hide it. And one of the images that I saw on the internet was this black woman in period dress wearing a green turban. She wasn't that clear, but it was clear enough that you could tell the turban was green. That was on her head.
That might have been the reenactment they were trying to do there. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about the reenactment.
I think it was a reenactment sometime back in the early 90s before it was a bed and breakfast. They were in that room down there. It was blocked off, of course, but in the downstairs room.
Yeah.
And there was like a partition in that bedroom. One of the actresses went.
Sorry about that. That thing just walked in the door.
One of them went. One of them went, looked behind the partition, and she was standing back there, and I guess it freaked her out.
Right.
Pretty bad. Because I guess Chloe was standing back there.
That would trip me out. I'm just.
Yeah, really.
If you're not expecting it, also, it's like once in a lifetime, really, when some people have that. There's a bunch of people walking on this one video. I'm playing the whole video now. And if anybody's paying attention, they should be seeing the things that we had saw the first time. But if I was there, and it's like most people do this stuff and go everywhere and they're looking all the time and they never have any encounters, and then there's those one random people who, probably aren't that huge of a believer maybe at times, and then they just have this really life-changing event where one of these spirits or images just appear right in front of them,
Huh.
Well, because a lot of people seem to have a lot of experiences at this plantation from what I'm always hearing, so someone's always walking away with something to talk about,
Well, that's true. But, like I said, this place,
Yes.
I want to go to this place. Everybody that talks about this place talks about the experiences
do
they
I.
have. But I want to go to this place. I put it on my places to go list. Maybe someday I will even get there.
Not to get off subject or anything, but I believe, in my opinion, that Alcatraz is like more haunted than that place is. But that's just my opinion.
That's another place I want to go to, is Alcatraz. I have so many places on my and I make these lists of places I want to go to, and I have tourist and haunted, 2 lists actually, and Alcatraz is on my haunted list. So isn't the Myrtles Plantation. Some places that I go to that are supposed to be haunted, I never see anything, but you know what? They're not going to. Ghosts do not act on cue.
Yeah.
Not
unless you provoke.
Not unless you provoke, and that's something that I don't do. I don't go in and provoke. I think that's silly. To me, it's not the smartest thing to do. I watch these shows on TV. One in particular, I'm not going to mention any names, but he's always going in and provoking, and then he wonders why these things follow him home.
Are you talking about Zach Baggins?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're trying not to drop names of any shows or anything else.
Okay.
But we're just some shows that people see and stuff. But
I didn't mean to mention his name.
Oh, that's okay.
Censor
I'm sure Zach don't
out.
care.
Yeah, we'll censor it out. Who cares? But we're not here to really advertise anything because we're just talking.
Yeah.
But whatever. But it is.
What other places have you been to?
Well, I went to Alcatraz back in 2012, the end of 2012. Let me think. I went to.
Well, what did you experience at Alcatraz?
It just felt like it's like walking into evil.
Really?
Like those, like,
I could see that because of how much prisoners are in there, and their mentality, and who knows what was attached to them, and the energy they give off. Yeah, I could totally Well,
the way they were done then, nowadays it would be called inhumane treatment. Because back then they were kept in their cells. They weren't allowed to speak to each other, even when they were working. The only time they really got to visit with each other is when they were out in the yard. Then you had Robert Stroud there, who was the Birdman of Alcatraz, and he was kept in solitary, not in solitary confinement, but he was kept in an area where no one was around. All he saw was the guards, and that's because he was a cold-blooded, vicious killer. But and then you had what they call the tombs, which was solitary confinement.
Yeah.
And they were down in the basement. Actually, if I remember right, Alcatraz was a fort.
Yeah.
Before it was
Civil
a
War
prison.
Fort.
Yeah,
they
Civil
still got
War
the
fort.
Cannons. They still got the cannons there.
Do they?
Yeah.
And part of this fort was kind of underground, and where the solitary confinement cells are actually underground in the basement. And these guys were kept in the dark. I mean, they would be put in these little bitty cells, no bed, no blanket, and a lot of times they were put in there naked and just shut in the dark. And it was no wonder why some of them went crazy.
Some of the cells were opened up so that way you can walk in it and experience what it was like. Some of them, most of the cells were like actually chained open, but I guess I'm going to find that out when I go back in June.
Oh yeah, that'd be. Hey, if you catch anything when you go back there in June and
take plenty of pictures
and get anything, come back to one of our Paranormal Talk nights where we invite our viewers to call in and share their stuff. But that'd be awesome.
I was watching this show on Alcatraz, and there was this guy. His name was Whitey Thompson, and Whitey Thompson was an inmate at Alcatraz, and he was an inmate at Alcatraz for a lot of years. And somewhere along the way, in his old age, he became one of the tour guides. And he was always kind of a fixture around he died a couple years back, but he told stories of cruel treatment by the guards and the warden. He told all sorts of stories about this place, but he would tell about laying in his cell at night, and there would be whispering in his ear, and it would be so close he could actually feel their breath on his ear. So I'm guessing this place has been haunted a lot of years. But it's no wonder.
Well, when you were there, I mean, so far you felt the evil type of energy, but I mean, when you were there, did you, I don't know, sense anything, feel anything, hear anything, get anything on your camera, EVPs, that you kind of just checked out for yourself, or your brother or anybody that was with you have any odd experiences, or...
Well, I was walking up that long, steep hill, and I could have sworn there was somebody following me behind me. So I turned around, and there was nobody there. So
you just had that feeling like somebody was pacing with you. Yeah.
I did caught somebody firing a rifle on the EVP on my recorder, but I know nobody was shooting guns off in the area.
Right. Well, because there's too many people. Why would they be?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of reckless and not a very smart thing to do, but...
No, not at all. But, excuse me.
So, when you were there, I mean, did you go to just outside? Did you go to where they got to roam around outside? Or, I mean, was there certain things that they just didn't allow you guys to go to? I mean, what did you really get to go see when you were in there?
You got to see the cell houses and stand in some of them. You got to see the yard, but when you go out in the yard, it's like it's windy out in the yard and it's cold, I guess, from the bay.
Well, it would be because it's sitting right in the middle of the bay.
A lot of it is it's blocked off because they said it's dangerous. I don't know why they had the upstairs blocked off, but they had signs saying it was dangerous or something. They didn't allow people to go like upstairs.
Probably because some parts were probably unstable and they just didn't want to put the money into fixing things up and just don't want people getting hurt or being pushed off or falling over.
Well, for one thing, like I said earlier, this place is sitting in the middle of the bay, and that salty air will erode it away.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll take a long time, but it will erode. I read one time where houses built along the shorelines, not only out there, but like down in Florida or anywhere up and down the east or the west coast. after a while, that salt air starts eroding away at their homes and eating at their homes, and they have to do a lot of repairs. So I can see where this place would be falling in. It closed in 1963, and it was, well, during the Civil War. It was opened in the Civil War. They closed it in 1963. I don't know when they started having tours through it.
Actually, I looked that up, and believe it or not, they opened it up on January 10th, 1986.
For tours?
Yeah, that's the day I was born.
Cool.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Cool. See, there you have a link to Alcatraz.
Yep.
More than one. You've even been there.
It actually was an Indian territory before, when they shut it down.
Well, I remember reading about, and I saw an old video on it somewhere, where a Native American tribe went in there and tried to reclaim it. Now, I don't know what happened. I've never heard any stories about a Native American ghost, but I don't know if there was a conflict there or anything. But they said for a while, Native Americans occupied the place trying to reclaim it. I don't know what happened.
The state told them they needed to leave because they were gonna. Well, I thought they were gonna tear it down, but then they decided to turn it into a park or recreational, whatever that's called.
And now they're making money off the ghost tours.
Yeah, that's at night.
I wonder when they decided to do that. But, you know, prisons would be haunted. I mean, if any place was going to be haunted, you know, well, I can think of several, but one of them would be a prison. Think of all the things that go on there. There are riots that go on there, murders, inmates murdering inmates, inmates murdering guards, guards shooting inmates for one reason or another. Some of them are treated very inhumanely.
Yeah.
The prison system is not perfect.
Nope.
It's not perfect. I see these programs on TV all the time. There's one on not the History Channel, on National Geographic called Lockup. It comes on late at night, but it shows you life inside these prisons. So it really is no wonder why they would be haunted.
Well, when you go to, they actually had a prison riot back in 1940 something, and they said it took them days to get that under control.
Yeah.
None of the prisoners escaped, but when they found out they got all the families off the island, they had to call in the National Guard to get on the roof and drop some grenades. The floor is still chipped from the grenades. I got pictures of that. The guards were killed. Just a big mess.
And there were some famous people that did time on Alcatraz. Al Capone, one of Ma Barker's sons. I think it was the oldest son. And as a matter of fact, he was killed during a prison escape. There was just
Mickey Cohen, I think. Yeah,
Mickey
he was
Cohen, Robert Stroud. Robert Stroud died. I don't know if he died at Alcatraz or not. He's buried in Metropolis, Illinois. I don't remember if he died before Alcatraz closed or after.
Mickey Cohen?
No, Robert Stroud. He was the Birdman of Alcatraz. Which, by the way, all of his bird books he did not write while he was at Alcatraz. He wrote those while he was at Leavenworth. And he ended up killing a guard at Leavenworth, so they transferred him to Alcatraz, and that's when he quit writing his bird books and stuff. Huh. But he did all of that when he was a prisoner at Leavenworth. And when Alcatraz was closed down in 1963, Marion, Illinois, in southern Illinois, is the prison that replaced it. So just a little history.
Yeah, a little history.
I'm full of all this information. It's not even funny.
What did you say, Lisa? Yeah, the place is active. Yeah.
I bet it's really active when it rains out.
Alcatraz?
Yeah, I bet it's really bad when it rains.
Who was that guy that escaped from Alcatraz? And he escaped with two brothers, and they never found him. Never found any of them. Who? Frank
I
Morris.
think his name was Frank Morris.
Frank Morris. You're right. That's exactly who it was, and I can't remember the brothers' names.
Yeah.
But those were, and they still to this day will not claim that he escaped. They claim that they died in the water and that somebody saw a body floating.
No. He
But
did not
personally,
die.
I think Frank Morris got away. I don't know about the brothers. I think Frank Morris did. He had an exceptional IQ. He was smarter than anybody there, including the warden. And he was actually sent there because he escaped from other prisons. So they sent him to Alcatraz because they figured he wouldn't be able to escape anymore, and he did.
Huh.
I guess where there's a will, there's a way.
That's definitely the only person I would know who did it that I've heard of so far. You know what I mean? Because the water is like extremely freezing, and then you got all those sharks and the current.
But the sharks that are in there are mostly sand sharks, and they don't really hurt anybody, and they're not that big of a shark. At least that's what I read. I could be wrong on that.
You never know what's. And I mean, people just say, "Well, this is what we know of," but you know what? It's the ocean. Anything can go through it.
But the water was freezing. There are strong currents through that bay. But these guys took their time. Frank Morris planned out his escape.
Yeah.
And
the Angel Island. I stood there and looked at that island from where I was standing. It's not that far away.
No.
I mean, everybody on TV says it's far, far away. It's not that far away.
Standing on the shore and looking at something and say, "Oh, that's not far away." But when you're in that water and you're swimming with freezing cold temperatures, your your body temperature is going to drop, and your muscles are going to start cramping up, and
that's true. But these guys escaped in a raft.
Oh yeah.
I think they could have made it, though. I think they could have made it.
I really do. I think that like I said, I don't know about the brothers. They were never heard from again.
But you know what? They could have had somebody that met them out there.
That's true. That's true too.
Yeah.
Back then, it was a lot easier to get codes. It's a lot easier to get codes out in the paperwork and everything else, whereas nowadays it'd be a lot more difficult.
But to this day, they still will not admit that someone escaped from Alcatraz. And there were attempted escapes before, and those people died because they had a policy. Yeah. You hit that fence, you're dead.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that even the prison yard is even haunted.
Yeah, they still got the baseball field there, but it's like overgrown with grass and stuff. The baseball field that they used to
play.
I wonder what they're going to do with this place, because they run these tours. It's part of the Park Service, but they don't seem to be doing anything on the upkeep of the place.
Actually, they're remodeling it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some parts of it, when we went, they had it shut down because they were remodeling. They were doing something outside. I think it was the water tower. It looked like it was. Looked like they were remodeling it. I know they were remodeling some of the cells, a cell block, so they had that blocked off.
It seems to me that they would have to get down in the dungeon and kind of redo that too.
Whatnot.
I mean, we're talking about a dungeon that's over 150 years old.
Years old, yeah. That's a lot.
And most of it down there is just brick. That's what they used for foundation. Then was brick. Brick wears away. Brick is porous. It crumbles after so many years, and the brick back then wasn't made as well as it is now. And even the brick now is still porous. You wouldn't think it's as strong as it is, but it still crumbles, after a while. It starts crumbling.
Yeah, when you come to our show at Little End, you get to hear a little bit about the paranormal, but you get to learn history about whatever topic we're talking about. So,
like I said, I read a lot. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I remember just about everything I read. So every once in a while, you're going to find out I'm full of all kinds of useless information.
Well, not always useless, but I mean that's why.
It's not always.
That's why the title of our show is Anything But Ordinary, because you never know. It's going to be a little bit about everything and anything.
I wonder if brick holds paranormal activity like limestone does.
Well, everything holds energy. Everything is energy, so it could have the possibility of it.
Because I know limestone holds it. We have a church in Alton that is haunted, and they couldn't figure out why, because nothing had ever happened in the church. And then come to find out, the church, when they tore down the old Confederate prison, or the old prison down there, that the limestone was used to build this church. And a lot of things went on in that prison, you know, malnutrition, smallpox, torture, you know, inhumane treatment, and all of, you know, and now this church is haunted. And a lot of the apparitions they have seen in this church have been of Confederate soldiers.
Well, I guess that could be your next thing you could research on, is see if maybe do a little investigation and see if does brick or anything else hold energy like limestone is. We're coming near down to the 5-minute mark, Spooky, so I know that we had a lot of issues with our show tonight. I apologize to all of our viewers. I apologize to you, Laces, for calling in, and
it's all right.
Very
I want to thank you for coming and for being
grateful.
our guest.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
And calling in. And thank you for sharing all of your experiences
and
your video and EVP and your picture.
Even though we couldn't get the EVP to play, we'll have everything up in our group. If you could, it's called Spooky's Corner on Facebook, and we'll have some of it up on our website later. So
I will be going to the Queen Mary in June, and also Alcatraz. So those are 2 ghost tours.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taking.
Take plenty of pictures.
And bring your
I'll
digital
let you know
recorder.
I'll let you know if anything comes up or anything.
Well, we would like to have you back.
Yeah, and
I would
hopefully you leave your spirits. Tell them to.
Don't bring them back with you next time.
Yeah.
I would like to apologize to our listeners for all of our technical problems. We don't know what happened. This is the first time this has ever happened to us. Usually our technicals run smoothly, but tonight, for some reason, they just didn't want to cooperate. I want to thank our mods, Crazy Guy, Penny, and Richard for
all their help.
For all their help
and
and like I said, thank you so much to our listeners for putting up with us tonight.
And the chatters and chat rooms. I don't know. Everything was going crazy. The chat room and everything too. So.
I know people were getting kicked out. I got kicked out of the chat room.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the owners of the site. And it just, now I know how Ghost Getter feels when this happens to him. Please join us next week, May 20th, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Our subject is going to be the Black Eyed People phenomenon. You know what I mean? What the heck? Raven and a guest caller are going to share with us their own personal one-on-one encounters with black-eyed beings.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody for putting up with us tonight and for coming, and I hope everyone has a good week.
Yep, and happy birthday, Pam. And I hope, thank you, Laces, for calling in and for sharing all of your stuff. And good night, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Laces.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.